one-time Grand World Jump Rope champion and world record holder here, and we are at Silverstone Circuit in England today, and I get to be with the awesome racing driver Phil Hanson. Phil, what's up?
I'm really cold. It's a hot day today.
It's so cold, yeah. Tell us a bit about your story.
So I'm a Le Mans winner. I race in the World Endurance Championship and the European Le Mans Series. I've won all three in 2020, and yeah, currently doing the same thing. I race in a class called LMP2, which is the endurance side. Yeah, my claim to fame is Le Mans, obviously, in 2020. But today we're going to be driving in as close as we can get to a road car with Tori. Probably the basics. I don't know how you're going to get on, but should be fine. We're at Silverstone, great place to be. Sunny, it's cold, pretty normal English day for it, really.
We're in the car though, so
yeah, it's not going to be too bad.
Handle it pretty well. But yeah, I've never done anything like this before, so I'm super excited to get kind of behind the wheel, get tips from one of the best I can get from. But also, we're gonna jump some rope later, which is gonna be super fun, I think, as well.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's get it. It's pretty heavy. I mean, I've never had a helmet like. Is yours heavier?
Mine's light because it's meant to be light.
Compare the size.
The future starts right now. I made a reservation, but you never came, so I'm checking out. The fire you stole away. I know one day we'll come back around. The future is now.
Pretty crazy. I know it was super basic for Phil, but there's so much to think about. He was telling me so many things. Yeah, so I'm pretty nervous right now. I have a driving license, if that helps at all.
I know one day we'll come back around. The future is now.
Okay, first of all, it was super fun. Phil, I know I'm making him super nervous, but he's a really good teacher. He's staying on top of it for sure. I mean, this is the first time I've done anything like this.
There's a lot of shouting the word brake, which isn't the most comforting feeling, I'm going to be honest. Just knowing how much you can really abuse the car, really, the performance. Like you mentioned to me, are you worried about overheating the brakes? Don't rest your foot on the brake whilst we're here, otherwise that smell is the brake burning. So learning about how hard you can push the car, how hard you can actually brake, to the point where I don't have to say brake, 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 brake when we're entering a corner, and you actually start to slow down the car. I'm probably going to drive now and just show you what the car's capable of, so that you understand that you're not overdriving the car, you're very much under driving. In terms of the racing line, Tori got pretty quick. I was pretty surprised how quickly he picked up the racing line. The difficulty now is trying to replicate it, so we're not entering every corner trying to have to give you the cues again, you know, that it becomes a bit more natural. Yeah, pretty decent start.
You know, for me, I feel really stressed because there's other cars on the road.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, we're great, we're going through this lap, and then we're pretty empty, or there's no one else, and I think I've done pretty good. And then I get really stressed out because there's other people doing things. So I can't imagine a race situation like that. Just
It's time to be someone I want to recognize. The future starts right now. I made a reservation, but you never came, so I'm checking out. The fire you stole away. I know one day we'll come back around. The future
just
is now.
finished Bill behind the wheel, and that was absolutely insane.
Well, like you specifically, it was the racing line is like the fundamental concept, like trying to carry as much speed we can through the corners without using much steering input, without trying to slow the car down. So in a way, trying to go through the corner as straight as possible. So, you know, the widest point on entry, apexing in the middle of the corner, and then carrying all that speed to the very edge of the track on the exit. As we're doing that, trying to get back to throttle as quickly as possible. Quite often you were picking up throttle fine, but it was getting from picking up throttle to flat. we want to try and really minimize that distance. So when you pick up throttle, a little bit of application, and then you're back to flat. And the same with the braking. The braking was great, but quite often you were touching the brake and then waiting for the car to slow itself down. You really need to be pressing the brake a lot harder to get the car to slow down, get it responding in the way you want it to. And then you can shorten all that distance. You can start braking later into the corner, start picking up the throttle earlier, and then shorten that time where we're actually slower.
Okay, it's my turn again. I get to be behind the wheel. Phil is trusting me one more time. I have one last chance, I think. That's all I get with this. Seatbelts, I know I felt improvement. I was able to go a lot faster. Definitely takes me also several laps to get it into play, to like try to even make one change. So, you know, we've been here for a while. He's given me a lot of chances, but I had a super great time.
Like most people, I think I categorically say wouldn't be able to do what you just did. Like in like an hour of driving, the racing line was pretty much perfect. Like you were braking pretty late everywhere, which isn't a bad thing. Normally that's something you really struggle to get people to do, because they have that fear factor of how late you can brake. I'm the one that's scared telling you to brake earlier. And you got the braking hard, you got the throttle, you got everything. And the most important thing, the frustrating part for me is like, what's second nature to me is the racing line. Like why people don't use the whole track, and you were basically using the whole track all the time. And there was one point where you ran too wide because you were carrying too much speed, which is perfect. You'd rather be there than having someone scrub all the speed on the inside. And that was great, honestly. I was really impressed.
Okay, so we just went super fast with the car, which is awesome, and now it's time to show off some jump rope skills and teach some new ones. And it's super cool because we're literally right beside the racetrack in the middle of things, and we're gonna jump rope right here. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So one thing that's so cool about how we can connect our sports, I think, is just pure like speed.
Yeah.
Right, so something that you do is just try to go as fast as you can, right?
Yeah.
That's essentially how it works. Who's
Exactly.
going the fastest? Same in jump rope, so we have events where it's literally as fast as you possibly can go. So today we're going to break down speed events for you.
Cool.
I'm actually going to give you this jump rope to use. I know a lot of people start with Y rope, so we're actually going to just toss that to the side. And the reason is that those are quite a bit lighter, so you don't really learn how to control the rope because it's not giving you as much feedback as you can possibly get. So the benefit of using a rope with a bit more weight on it is just all of that sensory feedback that comes from the visibility of having these thicker beads that you can actually spot as the rope is kind of coming over your head and about to approach your feet. You have the bit of weight, so your arms are actually feeling like when you need to change your technique or how to kind of feel that revolution in the rope.
Okay.
And then you have the audible feedback, of course, of like the beads going beside your ears, and then of course as they strike the ground you get that nice sound. So it might be a little challenging just to kind of go up in weight on a rope. So I'm making him do some challenges today, but he challenged me hard out there.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
okay, we're gonna try to jump as long as we can in the winter jackets because it's crazy cold. Okay, so what I'm gonna teach you first is what we call the jock step or the speed step, and this is just the most kind of essential jump rope skill that you can possibly do after you learn how to do the basic jump.
Yeah.
And this is really what we really hone in on for jump rope competition. So how it works is you're gonna jump over the rope with your right foot and then jump over the rope with your left foot. And you can start pretty slow, like boom, boom. I have a feeling it's gonna be pretty easy for you. Go ahead and just try to give that a try.
Like that?
Yeah,
I feel like if I go slow it's going to be more difficult.
That's good. So faster with your arms. Yeah. Okay, and then make sure your feet are coming forward.
Okay. I see what you mean, yeah.
Alright, so it's all about speed. You're trying to think about getting your feet forward. So this time I want us to try to jump as fast as we can. So your heels, don't kick them back, bring your feet forward. Yeah, that's super good. So this is another event that we do in competition to go as fast as you can, double unders.
Okay.
So we're gonna kind of break down how a double under works. you want to make sure you're always going, once again, off the balls of your feet, landing on the balls of your feet. And then you want to make sure that you're always doing kind of forward tracking with your knees. A lot of times people start to do double unders and they kind of do this, like an outward tracking or an inward tracking. And this really places a lot of extra stress on those lower joints in our body. So we want to make sure that we're kind of always doing this forward neutral tracking. And then at our hip point, we want to try to stay really neutral. A lot of times people will get into a double under and they'll have this freak out moment, that's what we call it. It's almost like, we see it's like a floppy fish, right? So they bend right at their hips. And this is a really inefficient movement. Like when you pull you're like tightening your leg, you're pulling your toes forward and you're bending at the hips. And this does not work long term, right? So we want to try to stay upright and as relaxed as possible for those doubles. Hands come in, it's a lot of tips. Hands come in by the side, neutral head. But I think you'll be pretty good off on these.
Yeah, for sure. I've done double unders before, but like you said, never with this, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, so it's gonna feel weird for sure when you first move to a new type of jump rope, but it just takes a lot of time in the first repetition.
You want to show me how to do it?
Yeah. So, double unders, and so just really nice, loose, and relax.
Nice, loose, and relax.
Yeah, that's the goal, at least, with all of these. Okay, go for it.
Nice, loose, and relax.
Nice, loose, and relax. Oops.
Good start.
You're good.
I think we're gonna have to attempt this a few more times.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
I feel like at one point I get out of sync with it.
You do. You need to go faster with your arms. Yeah, faster. Like
Faster?
so. It's like this moment when you're actually in the air, boom, boom. That needs to be faster.
Okay.
The between moment. Yeah, that was better. Super good. All right, so you know the point of a double under, right, is that when you jump off the ground, you're making 2 revolutions with the rope. So, okay, the point of a double under is that when you are jumping up off the ground, you're doing those 2 revolutions with your arms. So those 2 revolutions need to be very quick and very efficient. But you also have to be able to control the speed of the rope. Just like when you're braking around a corner, right? You're braking between the double unders. So you're going really quick on the up, really quick on the revolutions, and then you kind of have that gap before you go into the next double under. So I think that's where like changing ropes can like really affect that timing because you're not quite used to that weight yet. Yeah. So quicker on your arms in the double under on the 2 revolutions, and then nice and slow between. 2, double, 1, double.
Finally.
That was good. That was awesome. Okay, also it was like so clean.
You gotta zoom in on that.
That was great. Okay. I was a little surprised there. So training for triple unders or building into the triple under is a lot like going into the double under, right? So the only thing is we just have 1 more revolution added. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with 2 jumps, 2 doubles, and then try a triple under on the 3rd. Okay. Just give it a go.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Don't worry too much. Oh, that was 4. Okay, so big one on the last jump. That was it. That was a triple.
You sure?
Yeah. Are you sure? That was it. You literally just crushed it. Okay, so what we call that in jump rope, that 3rd huge jump, we call it power jump.
Are you sure it was?
And he just pulled out a triple under, no problem, basically. That was super good. So now we just work for consistency, right?
Yeah.
So the trick after...
Exactly what we did today, basically.
Yeah. Doing it a million times over and over again. All right, so today has been a day all about speed. We gotta look at the speed of car racing, of course, and then apply that also with the speed of jump rope. So I think we actually found the crossover between our sports, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, a little bit. I think I found skipping more difficult than you found the driving.
I definitely, he's being too nice.
And lastly, a big thank you to Silverstone for lending us the car from the Silverstone driving experience. It was great to finally give you a taste of the performance. I mean, it's 410 horsepower, so it's pretty decent.
We were going pretty fast, so I'm gonna try to get Bill to let me drive around a little more. All right, till next time. Presented by Brooks Running.